ahead and call the meeting to order. I have 7 o'clock. Did everybody get a chance to read through the agenda? Any questions, comments, concerns? Motion?
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
One of these two.
Take your pick.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Go ahead and vote by roll call.
Counselor Caceres,
Aye.
Counselor no, sorry. She's not here. Counselor Ecclestone,
Aye.
Counselor Lee,
Aye.
Counselor Sini. Aye. Counselor Wick,
Aye.
Mayor Clevenger,
Aye.
and motion passes.
All right. So first we have the Arbor Day proclamation proclaiming 9th, 2022 as Arbor Day. City of Aumsville recognizes, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, lower our heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas the trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper and wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore, I, Derek Clevenger, Mayor of the City of Aumsville, do hereby proclaim April 29, 2022 as Arbor Day in the City of Aumsville, and further, the council urges all citizens to plant and care for trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Signed this 11th day of April, 2022, Aumsville. Have anybody on there? No attendees, no one in the crowd, so we'll just keep on moving. Consent agenda. Everybody get a chance to read through the minutes? Questions, comments, concerns? Motion?
Move to approve the minutes as presented.
Seconded.
Vote by roll call.
Counselor Caceres,
Aye.
Counselor Ecclestone,
Aye.
Counselor Lee,
Aye.
Counselor Sini. Aye. Counselor Wick,
Aye.
Mayor Clevenger.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, so we have a public hearing today. This is a supplemental 21-22 budget amendment for the FEMA grant. I have 7:03. We will go ahead and open the public hearing. Anyone have anything to declare? Ron, do you want to give us your little report again?
So this is a hearing for a supplemental budget amendment. This was money that we received this year from FEMA related to the February 2021 ice storm. And the supplementary budget amendment just allows us to redistribute, to accept the funds and then redistribute accordingly to the various expenditure line items that we use to help pay for cleanup and debris removal and that kind of stuff. There was some minor repairs. We received a 75% grant back. So there's 25% of the costs that the city ended up absorbing as part of that disaster. And that's just the way the FEMA reimbursements program works. And so after the budget amendment, there is a resolution. And if council has any questions, the various funds are broken out in your staff report in the various lines. And if this action looks familiar, we had done this once before, but wanted to just make sure from a process standpoint, we checked all the boxes. So we've got this back in front of you.
Well, there's nobody here, so I'm going to assume we don't have any proponents or opponents. So do we need to talk about it at all? Anybody have any questions for Ron?
Pretty straightforward, honestly.
We'll go ahead and close the public hearing. I've got 7:05. So we've got two motions with this one, Ron, looks like.
Resolution Authorizing staff to reclassify.
One
Yeah.
is for the 15,000 and one is for the
Yeah, and the
modifications.
reason
Well,
why
this
that
is-
is because we
Four
have.
is just this one. The other one is to move funds to another,
Yeah, so
From
the
where
the
we are putting it
appropriations
now
and then,
over to the other
yeah,
one. Yeah.
separate for the 15,000
Yep.
is the same. So, yeah. Well, if nobody's got any questions or concerns, do we have any motions?
I move to approve resolution 04-22 to modify budget appropriations as outlined.
Seconded.
Roll call.
Counselor Casares,
Aye.
Counselor Ecclestone,
Aye.
Counselor Lee,
Aye.
Counselor Sini. Aye. Counselor Wick,
Aye.
Mayor Clevenger.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And then our second action, which is the
I move to reclassify $15,000 of budgeted revenue in the city reserve fund from miscellaneous income to the FEMA DR 4599 reimbursement line as presented by staff.
I'll second.
roll call.
Counselor Casares,
Aye.
Counselor Ecclestone,
Aye.
Counselor Lee,
Aye.
Counselor Sini. Aye. Counselor Wick,
Aye.
Mayor Clevenger. Motion passes.
All right, moving on. So then under new business, we have 422, but that's what we just approved, correct?
Yeah.
So
We're on C.
A and B. Moving on to C, which is the grant agreement for the Oregon Business Development Department.
And council approved one of these contracts previously for $300,000. This is related to the potable water system improvements. So the new wells and the new reservoir project that we're constructing. This is 2 of 3 grants that we were awarded for this project. So the third one will be coming soon forward to you. I think we sent out a notice of award today for that grant for $757,000. But this is grant contract SR 2229 with Business Oregon. And it's in the amount of $2,500,000. And so the contract is attached. If you've had an opportunity to look through it, we don't really get to ask to, we don't really get to change these. They're giving us money, we take their contract kind of as is. So we have to manage it within the contract parameters. But if you authorized me to assign this, we'll go ahead and get that project going.
Any questions, comments? Do we have a motion?
I move to authorize City Administrator Harding to sign a grant contract numbered SR 2229 with Business Oregon for receipt of coronavirus state fiscal recovery funds in the amount of $2,500,000 as presented.
I'll second that.
By roll call.
Counselor Casares,
Aye.
Counselor Ecclestone,
Aye.
Counselor Lee,
Aye.
Counselor Sini. Aye. Counselor Wick,
Aye.
Mayor Clevenger.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Right, moving on. Ron, your report?
So just a couple of things in my report. The Public Works report is in your packet. I do believe we did get the headwork screen repaired and back in operation. That was quite the task because all of the parts were custom, made, and it was kind of proprietary. So, and then of course with the supply chain issues, that's always adding to the struggles, but it is back in and repaired. You approved a contract for that. Everything else is moving forward. I think Public Works and staff just in general are doing a great job keeping up on things. I think our police report was sent to you a little late, but you have that. You believe that was emailed to you. I don't see anything outstanding there. The property where the reservoir, the little extra property that we needed where the reservoir is closing, we went ahead and issued a cashier's check for that. That's finally went through its entire process. There were a couple of obscure issues with their title report, and we went through a process with our surveyors to clean that up and get a new legal description filed, and that's kind of what was holding up the closing. But as soon as they give me a time. I'm going to assume tomorrow, the next day, we'll go over and close on that property.
Awesome.
And that project will be ready to go. The project itself is in design engineering right now. So, we're going to keep putting pressure on them to get that moving sooner rather than later. We're still working, just to give you some background, we are still working with DEQ on the facility plan approval. And that's ran into a few snags with DEQ. They issued a permit with parameters, which we built the facility plan around. And now there may be some just disconnect with the various underwriters and engineers in DEQ and our engineer, in that they want to now change some of the parameters of that permit, which they can do, but it's if you were gonna, it would have been better had they brought this forward earlier.
Yeah.
Because it's slowing up the process a little bit. So I have a meeting this week with the director, a couple of their underwriters and our staff to see if we can figure out where this disconnect is and get that pushed through, because I'm really trying to make the September 30th deadline. And the reason why this is a deadline for us is because USDA's fiscal year ends September 30th. And right now we're using the previous census data. And if we can get an application locked in before the 30th of September, we can use that old census data, which gives us a lot favorable terms. So we're really pushing to try to do that, but we've got to do a preliminary engineering report. We have to do an environmental assessment. It would have been really pushing it to have that done a month ago, but we've now a month in delays. So I'm not sure if that will occur or not, but we're going to push because that's important. So that's kind of my number one. I'm pivoting now from grant applications. I mean, if there's something there that I can apply for, I will, but kind of pivoting my attention from that now to trying to make some of these important deadlines as far as getting other financial help. So just know I'm working on that stuff, and every day does matter. That's kind of it for the important infrastructure stuff. I do have some fun stuff. We do need to start working on Corn Festival. We've got the corn secured. We've got the entertainment for Party in the Park secured. We're starting to work on sponsors right now. We need sponsors. We're a little bit behind from last year in sponsors, but we also need to pick a theme, and staff has narrowed the theme down to 2. We've had a lot of feedback and input. Obviously, if you have something that you really are fond of or like, throw it out here. I mean, it's up to you guys. As far as I'm concerned, we'll go with whatever theme you like, but there's 2 that we like. One is called Once Upon a Corn Stalk. It's kind of a fairy tale theme. And the other one, Who You Gonna Call Corn Huskers? That's the one we're kind of favorable to. You could do a bunch of different plays, but we really rely on our corn huskers. And now we got them doing that special event on Friday to help pre-husk corn. So we kind of like the idea of that one. But again, if you like one, or if you want to vote on one, or if you have another one to throw out, we'd like to get a decision made tonight so we can start printing any material and applications.
I feel like we're all aging ourselves with that reference. There's a lot of kids that are going to have no idea what the theme is.
Oh yeah,
Or
it's
how it-
big
how it
time. It's all
connects.
been revived.
Yeah,
Ghostbusters
The
are back.
Ghostbusters?
The Cornbusters are back. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Ghostbusters, they just came out with a brand new movie.
Yeah, there's
Flop.
been like 3. Well, they had one, and then they just did another one.
No, I saw it. And
Oh,
like,
you saw-
it totally flopped in theaters.
I thought it was good. I mean, maybe I'm dating myself.
Yeah, I
but-
didn't see the most recent one, but
It wasn't that
There,
bad.
Yeah.
there's also some kind of cartoon out there that teenagers are all over, because I'm hearing about it from.
Oh, yeah?
I don't pay for those channels anymore, so.
The movie's corny, but
Yeah. Oh, I see what you
Yeah.
did there. It's corny.
It's corny.
Maybe,
Picking up when you're putting
You know,
down, right?
I like that. Who are you gonna call Cornhuskers?
maybe we ought to
Yeah.
show that on one of our Saturday night movie and
Yeah.
There you
shows.
go.
Yeah,
Make that a
Yeah.
thing, like
little
over the
intro
course
to
of
it. There
a
we
couple
go.
of them.
I like that.
Show all the Ghostbusters
Yeah.
movies.
I like the who you gonna call.
Yeah, like the Cornhuskers.
Cornhuskers.
Everybody cool with that one?
Yeah.
I think we like it. What do you think,
Okay.
Scott?
Go for it.
Man, a few words.
Who
Thank you
gonna
for
call
that
again?
in-depth response.
Yeah.
Feedback's appreciated.
Yeah, let's go with that one, Ron.
I like it.
Unless you have something else for me,
All right, anything else, Ron? Okay,
we're good.
All
then,
right.
anybody have anything to report, or anything for the good of the order?
I do. I had our MWAC meeting for transportation last week, and there's about 39% more funds coming through the ARPA that transportation's bringing in. Some of them are for specific projects like bridges, which we don't have, but in general, there's 39% more coming to the cities and the county.
Cool.
They're working on how they're going to distribute it and under which programs now.
Are they just taking a toll of how many people are like moving out of the areas more rural and the traffic and the upkeep needs to?
Well, that's why I said some is like dedicated to bridges, which is how we're
Yeah.
getting one replaced out here. And there's some dedicated to pedestrian stuff, some to bicycle stuff, some to general traffic.
Maybe we can finally get some crosswalks on 11th?
There's always hope for that.
Doubt it. That's my last day in office. I'm just going out there with a can of paint and making it happen, Ron.
I'll be out there with you.
Do anything on your last day, right, Ron?
Yeah.
Whoa, too many people talking at one time.
That's so you don't know which one of us is
Yeah,
doing it.
Exactly.
I heard a lot of words and I don't want to respond to any of it unless I've got a direct question here. The issue with crosswalks have really been, it's Marion County doesn't want to assume increased liability over it. And we've been trying to work with them to develop a standard that's been engineered and designed. But it's just, it's like everybody else, everybody's got so many things going on. They got staff constraints. They start a project and then you lose staff and then that project gets thrown to the bottom of the hopper. So it's just been real tough between the interagency agreements, to get different things done. We were off to a good start, but it's really slowed down. So, the other issue is the city agrees to take ownership over the roads within the city. And our engineer really has heartburn about that. I'm starting to warm up to the idea. We actually may have a recommendation next year or later this year to look at something like that.
What does that do to the traffic signals and the crossings they want? Does that make them ours too then?
Yeah, it makes
That
everything,
gives me heartburn.
it makes everything ours, but it's ours anyway.
Why don't you go ahead and push that to next year so I won't be here?
Okay.
My only concern about the crosswalks, especially by the elementary school, is everything south of 11th Street. The kids have no protection.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really don't want to see one of them get hit before they decide they'll do something.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know, maybe there's some sort of litigation out there, some case law that is raised the awareness. I don't really understand why that's an issue. I would think putting in crosswalks would be a benefit from a safety standpoint, but I'll revisit it. I'll try reaching out again just to see. But I agree. It seems to me like we could definitely get a few extra crosswalks in some of those key spots. We have one that as part of development is required to come in if Marion County will approve it. And that's really the key there, because getting it in isn't the issue. Paying for it's not the issue. It's getting it approved through Marion County. And up until the last 3 years, there was an unwillingness to even broach the subject. It was just no, I think.
was.
But there's been some changeover in staff and it's more like, well, we're kind of open to the idea, but we have to put something together, but nothing's been put together. So
Anybody else got anything?
Is there still 2 interviews Wednesday?
there's 3.
Is there 3 now?
There's three on Wednesday. We will have a 1-hour break in the morning, but I would like to use that time. We'll be in here. It's noticed as a public, well, it's not actually not noticed as a public event because it's interviews, so they're closed to the public. So we'll have an hour pause just before lunch. But we can talk about candidates and interview process and all that good stuff.
But we're starting at 10, we said?
We're
So we'll
starting,
be
our
here
first
a little
interview is at
before then.
10, so
Yeah.
you want to be here
Be here
9:30 or so.
Yeah. Who is not gonna be able to make those interviews?
I won't be able to make it.
Be able to make it? Anybody else?
Okay.
Are you the only one?
I'll show up.
Yeah, I think Scott, is it Scott?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, okay, so there's 2.
Well, I got nothing. The last thing, we got this correspondence. Everybody has it in their packet. That's just the fee schedule from Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments. And that's just a kind of an FYI thing.
Going up if we use them.
Yep. All righty then. Well, if there is nothing else, I've got 7:22. We'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting.